Hello everyone, and welcome to the third module of our Indigenous Climate Action Program. In this module, we are talking about the air we breathe and trees because the two are so intricately linked. My name is Leanne, and I am the lead youth educator with the Sac Olam. In this module, we are talking with Joe Martin of Clayoquot First Nation, who is both a master carver and a tribal parks guardian. In this video, he speaks about trees and, more specifically, the art of carving a canoe and the tree selection process that goes into that. And it is a process, starting with a need and then identifying how to address the need and the best way to address that need. You'll notice in the video that Joe highlights that a tree is only cut down when there is a need for it, as opposed to cutting down many trees and then identifying a need for those trees. Thus, old growth forests, which are critical to the health of salmon habitats, which is what we talked about in Module 2, these old growth forests are treated with respect and with thought for generations to come. In this way, Joe and the Clayoquot people practice not just sustainability, but abundance. So abundance can be understood as practicing or living in a way that ensures that your grandchildren will not have to work as hard as you have had to. It's ensuring that when we leave this beautiful place, Mother Earth, this territory, our homes, that we actually leave everything that our children and our children's children and generations to come past beyond those grandchildren have everything that they need.
Welcome to Clayoquot Hahousain Tribal Parks. I'd like to share something with you about the animals here. We have on this drum is painted the tracks of many of the creatures that live here. The elk, the deer, the bears, the cougars, wolves, and all the other little creatures, the mice and voles and mink, otters, including the herons, the ravens, and the eagles, and the crows, and all kinds of birds. You know, those birds, they depend on this this forest and the lands here, and that's basically where our people had learned a lot of the things about this land was from nature. And so anytime we sing songs, and basically we have songs that pertain to all of these creatures, and so they're basically teachings of natural laws.
I think it is important to draw attention to Joe's emphasis of natural law, because we all live under natural law. It's important that we learn about and take care of what we have. This means we must all understand Mother Earth's ecological limits and learn to respect them, live with them, and protect them.
From our ancestors was that Mother Nature will provide for our needs, but not our greed. Anyway, I'd like to share a bit of teaching about selecting a tree for making a canoe. My grandfather and my father were basically my main teachers in that regard. And so anytime we go out into the forest looking for a tree for a canoe, we're not allowed to just go there, okay, there's a tree right there, we'll just take that one. It was not like that. We had to come here and sit here and listen and make sure there's no eagle nests or other bird nests in this tree. And you'll know that the only time you won't find those bird nests active is in the wintertime when there's no birds here. And then the other thing was that we were not allowed to cut a tree within 100 meters of an eagle nest. And that was our people's teaching. My dad and my grandfather, they made sure that I knew that. No, we were not allowed to just go there and just take stuff. We also had to be aware in the forest that there's no wolf dens or cougar dens or bear dens. And so that's why we have a lot of those songs and dances in our communities that are about awareness. And that's why they always dance and they look like that. It was because we were taught to be aware of all the things around here. And so that was the choosing of a tree. So, when we came here, I asked for permission from the Great Spirit to have this tree. So you're not allowed to just come here and just cut that tree down. And so you have to ask permission. And so I did. And so I came here several times before this tree was taken down. Sat here and shared some food and shared some prayers and asked the Great Spirit for this permission to have this. So this tree here, when it was taken down, what it was giving the life to our community. So it would provide us for many things. It gave us access to all of our resources and protection of them as well. So our people did travel quite a distance in these canoes. This size of a canoe was used mostly for seal hunting, and they'd go out like 30, 40, 50 miles offshore in these canoes, and the people knew about the weather and so on, and they would be able to do that. And today, I think that most people are not aware of those kind of things the way that the ancestors were aware of them. And so coming here and carving a canoe right here on site, as you can see, what it does is it leaves all the parts here for the forest floor here. In fact, all the indigenous peoples in the world would do something like this, and carve like that. So, or carve in the forest, or make their canoes right out of the forest. And so, they're important parts of our teachings and using resources in a respectful way from the forest. This is the fourth canoe out of this tree, and there's room for one more possibly in that thing there. I finished my first canoe, I remember it, on the beach. My dad came along and he put his hand on my shoulder. He said, "Son," he says, "now you don't have to depend on anybody for anything." He says, "You have access to all the resources." Because he knew how I learned how to select the tree, and to share all this stuff as well is a big thing. It's not to be greedy, just to share, always share these things.
On Vancouver Island, about 80% of big tree forests have been cut and replaced with tree plantations. To practice for abundance, we must listen to what Indigenous wisdom and science tells us and protect our forests to ensure their integrity and the health and survival of all living creatures. That is, the health of Mother Earth. This means prioritizing biodiversity, fisheries, old-growth trees, carbon storage, Indigenous culture, recreation, clean water, and clean air.